Hello, tea sippers. Yes, we are back, and we have a different story for you today. I came across this unfortunate story, but it's about a bear and a man and his girlfriend. Okay? So, before we get into it, you know what's up. Thumbs up this video. Also, subscribe if you have not already and hit the bell to be notified so you'll know when we drop a video. Shout out to all of my likers. Shout out to everyone who has been in our community. If we're not posting videos, we post in our community 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. Okay, because this page has a lot, or I should say channel. This channel has a lot of info, and we keep you up to date with all the celebrities. So make sure you're always checking out our community board so you will always be in the know. All right, so your girl, I was just, browsing on other people's content, just like you guys listen to other people's stuff. I do too. And I said, you know what? I'm going to bring this to What's the Tea? And basically, it's this guy. This story happened back in 2003. Okay, so this is an age story. And it's about, his name was Timothy Treadwell. Okay, and he was a bearologist, if that's a real word. But he's a bear enthusiast. He was a person who loved the bears. In fact, he said he loved the bears more than he loved humans. All right. And of course, his girlfriend was just along for the ride. I think she was into nature as well. Her name, let me see. Her name was, and I can't even pronounce her name. Don't come for me, guys. Amy Huguenard, I think her name is. Yeah, Huguenard. They were fatally injured, almost fully eaten by a 28-year-old male bear named the Machine. Okay, later on, they had done, an autopsy on the bear, and they actually found some of the remains of these two people in its system, also clothes. So the bear basically mauled these two. Okay, and so basically in October 2003, Treadwell and his girlfriend, she was a physician assistant, okay, they went to, let's see. I know you guys are going to be like, is she really reading this? Of course I'm reading this. I literally just found out about this 5 minutes ago, and I couldn't keep it to myself. So basically, they went to the mountains in Alaska and in the Kodiak Island to set up so they can basically film bears, okay? And this is all from a documentary. I haven't even watched the documentary. If it's available, but after this video I'm going to see if I can watch it. But it's called Grizzly Man, and the man who actually did the documentary, his name is Werner Herzog, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Okay, so Mr. Treadwell, his girlfriend, feared bears and felt very uncomfortable around the bears, but because she loved her man, she stood by him like Tammy Wynette. She went on this trip as well. Okay. Her final journal entries indicated that she wanted to be away from it's called Katma, which is like an island or mountains or whatever. Treadwell set his campsite near a salmon stream. If you know anything about bears and the grizzlies, they live by streams and they love salmon. Okay. Yes. And you see how salmon makes these animals very big. So I don't believe in a vegan life, but I do believe in fish. Fish, they say, can make you just as muscular and just as healthy and things like that. But unfortunately right now, fish is very scarce. Don't know why. I don't know why, but it is. Okay. So he basically set his campsite near a salmon stream where wild bears commonly fed in autumn. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little sidebar here, okay? Actually, I'm going to keep reading, and then I'm going to tell you guys how we work as humans. Treadwell was in the park later in the year than normal at a time when bears attempt to gain as much fat as possible before the winter. So I was reading this to my husband. I was like, oh my gosh. I just got it after all of these years of me trying to lose weight and things like that. And I'm still on my quest of just feeling better as a woman in my 40s and things like that. I am exercising, I'm eating better. And by eating better, I'm also knowing that your portions are very important in weight loss, guys. So if you're eating too little or too much, your weight loss goals may not be met properly. But anyway, bears hibernate for a long time. I'm not going to say how long because I don't know exactly, but it's like at least a season or two. And a season is 3 months apiece, okay? You guys can do your own research on your own time. Okay, so they start to want to build fat around the time in which they're about to hibernate. And so during their hibernation, and I always wondered as a child, like, how are they able to, sleep all those months and not die? Well, they feed off of the fat. Their bodies are programmed to feed off the fat while they're doing this huge sleeping vacation called hibernation. So one thing we have to learn, I said, look, if God granted them that ability and we're above the animals, I know he's granted us the same ability as being humans. So if we actually start to rest more, so we start to get our sleep, guys, you're getting my little wellness tip here because I am a, holistic practitioner by trade. It is what it is. It's what I do. So I always try to fit it in the videos. So listen, hear me out. Okay. So if you find that you just have this stubborn belly fat or stubborn situation on your body that you're trying to get rid of, like my stubborn area, I have two. Well, shoot, I have three. I have my arms, I have my stomach area, and I have my backfield area as well that seems to not want to go away. And the only time that it does it is when I'm resting. And I'm not just talking about sleep. I'm talking about just not doing much, not being strenuous, not being, super worried, not being so adrenaline filled. Yes, the weight starts to come off, and sometimes you can be nice and skinty, quotations, because skinty is not, the best word, but you'll be, closer to your goals if you just start to rest more. That's why they say sometimes on your vacations, we need vacations, guys. So if you're going through your life and you're not vacationing, or you're not having a staycation or a vacation, whatever you can afford or whatever you can fit within your life, you're probably going to have more stubborn belly fat than the one who's always chipper and having fun and not, worrying. They tend to be a little bit better in their weight area. But that's just my opinion. Let's get back to the story, okay? But I hope you guys got the point. Rest more and maybe you'll be a little bit smaller in the areas in which you want to be, okay? All right, so back to Mr. I think it was called the Machine. That was the bear they called. Treadwell was in the park later in the year than normal, at a time in which bears attempt to gain as much fat as possible before the winter. Okay, so remember, fat is storage. And a lot of us, we do not tap into the fat. It just hangs there. It is what it is. So the only time you really want to tap into it until you what? Act as a grizzly or a bear and hibernate. Okay, food was scarce that autumn, causing the bears to be even more aggressive than usual. Okay, and so I read a little bit further on, and it said that they had basically video recorded. Back in the day, it was, this almost 20 years ago. So they video recorded a bear who was constantly jumping in the water, like in the stream or whatever, to get a dead fish. So if they was going off on a dead fish, that means it probably wasn't any live fish there. Okay, that was a very tough year. This is the year I got married, 2003. Okay, so yeah, the weather was acting up that year. I do remember. Treadwell and his girlfriend were to leave the park as his usual time of the year, and had actually returned to the Kodiak on September 26th to store their gear for the season and catch a connecting flight to return to their home in California. So they were way out of their neck of the woods, weather-wise. I mean, I don't know. After an argument with the airline ticketer over the price and altering his return ticket, Treadwell and his girlfriend, Huguenard, made the decision to return to the campsite on September 29th. So if you know about September 29th, that's the fall. That's like the beginning of the fall. So that gives the bears a good, few weeks to get themselves together to get into their winter hibernation. Treadwell also wanted to locate a favorite female bear that he had concern about. Okay, so I don't know how he knew what bears was what. I don't know if they were tagged. I don't know if he knew this family or whatever. I don't know how he knew how to look for this bear, but apparently he did. He said that he hated the way that civilization was, and basically he was like, saying, I love the bears more than humans. He didn't like the hustle and bustle of people. Probably didn't like the fact that people didn't care about animals and their lifestyle, and how us as humans can kind of come and take over their land, and then they don't have any food. That's probably why they didn't have food that year. Maybe that year salmon was in the markets and not out there for the bears. I never thought about that. I never thought about that until this story, that they have to eat too, I guess. Well, I guess the bears became a little bit resourceful. I hate to say it. The bears he had been used to during the summer had already gone into hibernation. Okay, so these bears that attacked him and his girlfriend, they were a different breed of bears. They were out for hibernation, and he probably didn't know that until it was too late. Treadwell did not know from the parts of the park where moving into the area. So he didn't know the area in which they moved into. Some of the last footage taken by Treadwell hours before his demise includes a video of a bear diving into the river repeatedly for a piece of dead salmon. I told you that earlier. Treadwell mentioned in the footage that he did not feel entirely comfortable around that particular bear. Okay, so the person who actually did the Grizzly documentary, they feel that it was that bear that could have caused the demise. Okay, so we're going to go into some graphic kind of situations, guys, so you can peel your ears. I kind of cover them a little bit if you are sensitive, because this stuff is a little bit a little bit descriptive, if you will. Okay, so around noon on Sunday, October 5th, 2003, Treadwell spoke with an associate in Malibu, California by satellite phone. Treadwell mentioned no problems with any bears, so he was fine. The next day, October 6th, he arrived. October 6th, Willie Fulton, a Kodiak Air taxi pilot, arrived and Treadwell and Huguenot's campsite. But when he got there, he saw that it was abandoned. He just saw one bear. So when he got there, this was the person, I guess, to pick them up or whatever. When he got there, he found that it was nobody there, but he quickly discovered the grizzly scene, if you will. Maybe that's what that comes from, because grizzly bears are very vicious. I'm sure you've heard that term, the grizzly scene. If a grizzly bear is there and they did something like this, it's not pretty at all. Okay, so the person quickly found the couple's mangled remains. They discovered that Treadwell's head was disfigured, and he had a partial spine, which says that the bear probably kind of ate his torso, I guess. And his right forearm and hand was found, and he also had a wristwatch that still was on his hand. So the wristwatch was still there. That was not edible, if you will. And his girlfriend, unfortunately, her remains were also found. All right. So the only thing that was discovered, the only way they knew about this, other than finding the grizzly scene, is they did have audio. Okay. So they did have audio. And so, of course, you couldn't see it, but you can hear it. And you can actually hear it captures Treadwell attempting to attack the bear with a frying pan. Can you imagine a grizzly bear, which can stand several feet tall and weighs a lot of weight, if you will, and this little human trying to hit this big bear with a frying pan? You know, probably one of those, I don't know what those black pans are called. You guys put in the comments. I cannot think about it. But can you imagine that? He probably couldn't even that just probably irritated the bear even more. He is heard screaming for his girlfriend. And of course, he eventually stops when the bear fatally injures him. Okay, this kind of puts me in the mindset of, and I don't know his name either. What was that guy? Irwin? Steve Irwin, this was his name? Right? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't know. But yeah, Steve Irwin, he loved the animals. They called him what was he?
Crocodile hunter?
Yeah. And he was fatally injured doing what he loved by a stingray. But if you know his story, the stingray had pierced him, and he actually pulled it out. He pulled that I don't know the name of that the stinger. And I loved him. He, his children, they were little kids then, but they're grown now. But this what this story reminds me of. And there's a lot of people out here that love animals, and they live to just be around the animals, and monkeys too. You love monkeys. The thing about it is, these animals, you have to have respect for them. Yes, we're above the animals, but we have to have respect for them, because at any time, they can just kind of turn on you a little bit. You don't know them. I mean, yeah, our dogs are usually domesticated, and more, certain breeds of dogs are more domesticated than others. Guys, what I'm talking about. But have respect for them. Do not go in Grizzly Town during hibernation or right before hibernation time. Do your research. This was 20 years ago almost, so research was probably not as prevalent. You didn't have Google, you didn't have the internet. You kind of had to just go on your whim, and that's obvious why this happened, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, we've heard some horrible stories about the tigers and the what was that? What's that new thing that came out, babe? Netflix. The Tiger King.
Oh, the Tiger King.
Yeah, and several one of those in that documentary, somebody had a whole arm taken off, but they love the job. They're like, hey, they're just being the animal. Protect yourself, please. People swim amongst the oceans knowing sharks are there. Some people have been maimed, and some people have just, their lives have been taken because of sharks and big, huge whales, the killer whales and things like that. These are animals. Their brains, their setups, their chemicals are different than humans. So I know you guys want to give these human qualities to these animals, but honey, they are animals. Respect them, respect yourself, and keep your life intact. All right. So thank you so much for listening to this video, and I hope you learned something from it. If you didn't learn anything from it, learn this, that burning fat equals you got to rest to do that. Okay. That's the only way. Be like the grizzly in that fat. I'll see you guys next time.